Yo, it's time to turn up. It's time to cook up. We've officially entered March Madness territory, people. No, this is not a game. This is for real. The NCAA just revealed the top 16 seeds, and I got instantly turned up. You feel me? Oh, that means March Madness is around the corner. So I need y'all to lock in like I did when I saw those top 16 seeds, because tonight's episode is not just a typical AP top 25 breakdown episode. Of course, we going to do that how we do that, you heard? But we got to talk about the bracket and the positioning of certain teams. Right now, y'all know UConn, the clear number one, the clear overall number one. Boom. We ain't got to talk about that for real, for real. Put the respect on it. Next up, UCLA, right? The other number one team. Now, the other two teams that's rounded out these top four number ones, obviously South Carolina and Vanderbilt, underline Vanderbilt, underline, because, woo, did anybody see that one coming? I don't know. I didn't see that one coming, but we're going to talk about it tonight. Plus, in the top 16 teams, the SEC is carrying 10 teams. Okay, 10 of those slots belong to the SEC. Come on, stop it, y'all. Stop it. Okay, so now let's get into it. I'm gonna ask y'all right now to get in the chat. Get in the chat early. Y'all know how we do it over here on Her Court, Her Rules. Did the committee get it right? Did they get the top 16 teams right? Let's talk about it. We're gonna answer that question today. Is Texas being disrespected? Are they? Y'all. And which projected number one, we got the four, which projected number one is most valuable in March? Y'all talk to me early. Welcome back to Her Court, Her Rules, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are about to turn up this episode, man. I'm excited to be here. Excited to have y'all rocking with me today. You feel me? How y'all doing? Let's get to these comments early. Shout out to Farrell. Welcome back to Her Court, Her Rules. Gamecocks own the LSU Tigers. We know we gonna talk about that, my boy. College game day comes to CLA in our game against Ole Miss. Sunday. Got you. South Carolina, Ole Miss Sunday. Something to watch. So, y'all, let's talk about it. Welcome back to Her Court, Her Rules. You know, we do this every Wednesday. You feel me? Right around 6 p.m. This is episode 61, Big 61. And y'all know it's your girl, Najah Lee. Got the pleasure of hosting this with the good people today. Each and every episode is powered by none other than the illest lifestyle brand on the map, Freer Lens, empowering dope people like you to do all things with purpose and attention. Y'all, we are on our road to 500 subscribers, y'all. 500 subscribers. So everybody who is here, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all if y'all just pull up, hit that like, hit that subscribe. But nothing else, man. Hop into the chat where it's all love, all family, you feel me? And let's talk about basketball, women's basketball, man. I'm turned up, man. Much appreciation to all y'all. Happy poll breakdown Monday. We got top 16 break. What we doing today, y'all? Let's go. First of all, you know we got to talk about the big games that happened over the last week, right? You know, most of the games start on Thursday, right? We have a big slate on Thursday, and then it continues on. Sometimes we have a little trickle game in there Friday. You got to watch the ESPN ticker, and then we got Sunday. So Thursday and Sunday really your main days, right? But y'all, we got blessed. We got blessed this Saturday, y'all. Y'all know. We got blessed this Saturday with South Carolina and LSU. Woo! And did we talk about this game last episode, or did we talk about the game last episode, y'all? Shout out to Farrell. You know what I'm saying? We South Carolina fans, so we like you. It's always money on the flow on South Carolina, period. Okay. Okay. But boy, did that game have everybody on the edge of their seats? What hell of a game. Hell of a game. So shout out to women's basketball because boy, I didn't think that my heart was gonna be sitting outside my chest on Saturday. I mean, it was Lover's Day, right? So it made sense. You see what I'm saying? But boy, palpitations. UConn 2 seed is LSU. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the top 16s for sure. South Carolina has the easy pathway to the Final Four. Maybe we should take a look at South Carolina's schedule for the rest of the season. Fun fact: UNC has no free throws against Duke. Let's talk about the Duke game. Goes right into it. North Carolina, take your shirt off. Listen, they didn't have that energy in this game. They was fighting. They were definitely fighting. However, Duke, the defense Duke played, let me tell you something. Ashlyn Jackson, she a dog. Let me go to the stats real quick. Hold on. Let me go to the scores real quick. Hold on. That was Sunday's game. Yes. Let me go to the scores real quick so I can pull these stats up because thoroughly impressed. Now we've been watching Duke all year round, right? So I'm not surprised. However, I am very much so impressed because of their finish. I'm impressed with how they've been finishing games. These haven't been easy wins. Yes, they've blown out some teams, right? But they had to beat Louisville, right? They had to beat North Carolina. They had to beat Notre Dame. They not just, people just laying down. No, people playing their hardest against Duke, rightfully so. So in this game, let me go down to the box score real quick. Ashlyn Jackson, right? Let me tell you something about her offensive. It ain't about the box score because she was 3 for 12 from the field, right? 1 for 8 from 3, right? 5 rebounds in the game, 4 assists this game. Okay. She also had okay, boom. And then Mare, here, let me tell you something. Her and Mare in the backcourt together, nasty work defensively, just all over you. North Carolina, I'm trying to tell you, they did not have the energy because the defensive prowess for Duke was just top tier the entire game. On top of that one shot, that one 3-pointer Ashley Jackson made was a huge 3. They made timely shots. I say to people all the time, in the game of basketball, nobody cares about the shot that nobody cares about. Meaning, like the shot that matters most, right? When it's a tempo change, when we are talking about, oh, you're on a run, we need to stop a run, we need to increase our run, like that timely of a bucket. Oh, y'all dropping all the way down, like I just ain't gonna step back and shoot this 3. And that's what she did. I said, come on, Ashlyn. Shout out to her. Toby didn't have a great game either, right? Toby didn't have a great game either, but what she did well was rebound the ball. And this is what we say also, stay engaged with the game. So what, your shot ain't dropping, but what are you doing is 2 sides of the court. And you can still impact winning on a defensive end. Duke did that against North Carolina. They got out of there 72-68. Phenomenal game, man. Duke has been playing well. Yes, they have been. They are on a 15-game win streak. It's phenomenal to watch, man. They started their win streak on my home team, right? My Virginia Tech Hokies. I went to the game. I said, all right, VT, we have been at that time in the game, we have been playing better than them. Duke was just coming off a loss where they got spanked by LSU, and Flaugier said a couple of words to Kara Lawson, running down the court, right? So I'm like, okay, I already knew it was going to be a tough game. just because of the energy from the prior game from Duke. So as a mind, right, minding the game, you already see like, all right, they're gonna come out with that fire. Now the warm-ups was fire. They had an extra bounce. Virginia Tech, they was looking real, they was chilling. I said, okay, this is gonna be a long night for them. They got up on them quick. Okay, it was close first quarter. After that, it was over with. Smoke show. Duke ran away with the game. I think they ended up winning by 20 something points, 20 plus something points. I don't know. Once the game got to being 17, I was gone. They was down by 17. I said, come on, pack it up. It's over with. You feel me? So that being said, they started their 15-game win streak on my team. So I've really been witnessing Duke run through the ACC and beat Louisville in a tough game to remain undefeated in the ACC, man. So shout out to Duke and they're on an incredible run. Also, big shout out to Michigan, man. Big shout out to Michigan. Michigan had a tough game. It started out with a tough game. The first half was touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. Then Michigan did what Michigan normally does, and they like to pull away in that second half. Remember, I say all the time, Michigan has the type of team that can really beat any team, especially if they're clicking offensively. Sometimes the shots don't fall. Sometimes they get in foul trouble, and that can disrupt the chemistry and disrupt the flow. However, Michigan is a very dangerous team, and we should expect them to do some dangerous things in March Madness. That being said, shout out to Michigan State. Because if y'all watched the game or at least saw the highlights or anything, there was a really crazy kind of like fluke foul at the end in that game, and uh, the young lady who went down, she took a tough blow. So shout out to Michigan State because I know that they are enduring a lot right now emotionally, especially to you know, the victim of that heinous foul. I mean, it's crazy. It was her own teammate. You know what I mean? It's just wrong place, wrong time. It's just wild. So, shout out to them. Uh, but that being said, man, some great games took place yesterday. Also, Texas kind of rebounded again against Tennessee. Texas they've been slipping and sliding a little bit, right? We seen Rory Harmon. She's not been dependable in late in the game in the fourth quarter. We've seen Madison Booker get completely shut out. Not all of a sudden not being able to find her shots. So now they had an opportunity to bounce back against another team who has slipped and fallen and bumped their head a couple times in Tennessee. Exactly. Just like the Vols. So that being said, Texas had an opportunity to, even though Farrell said Texas sucks. I mean, I ain't saying that. Even though Texas had an opportunity to get back in the swing of things, get back into the dub column, right? Dubs in the chat. That's exactly what they did against Tennessee. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game by far. It was obviously back and forth, back and forth. Tennessee played well. I thought Tennessee was going I thought they were going to upset them. But again, they did it as a collective that game with Texas. I mean, Maddie had 14, Jordan Lee and Rory Hari both added 12. So when you have your entire backcourt involved in the game, that speaks highly of the team and them rebounding. They also had Cunningham really getting into the offense early in the game, like that first quarter. Cunningham was getting the ball. She was like six. She started the game off like 3 for 3, right? She scored like their first 6 points. So you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Texas because they definitely showed up and rebound against a bad loss against South Carolina. Shout out to Teddy. Welcome back to Her Core, Her Rules. What up? Ole Miss plays Tennessee on Tuesday. Yes, then hosts LSU on Thursday. Then plays South Carolina on Sunday. We looked at Tennessee's schedule and we knew that it was going to be not so good for them. However, I think that they are a strong enough team to stand tall, right? I would obviously right now as basketball is going, I'm gonna take Ole Miss over Tennessee. Also right now as basketball is going, you get Cody McMahon and you get that outside jumper jumping, right? I might take them over LSU right now. You feel me? Is the Ole Miss LSU game, where is that game gonna be held? Is it gonna be in Louisiana, or is it gonna be Mississippi? Let me know that who got the home court advantage on that one. Pharaoh, if you can. Ole Miss Tennessee game is a makeup game for both teams. Oh yeah, that's right, because of the snow. The snow, yeah, that game did get postponed. Ole Miss have that makeup game due to the storm, absolutely. Um, okay, so the game is in Oxford. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Home court advantage, home court advantage, home court advantage. I think in a game like that, I think it really matters. Um, but yeah, Tennessee got to figure it out. They got to try to bounce back. They definitely got to try to bounce back. Ole Miss is undefeated at home as well. That's the thing, you know what I mean? And they just play with a just a level of grit that sometimes is hard. It's hard to match. Cody isn't enough to beat us. Here's the thing about LSU. Y'all got a lot of weapons. You feel me? And all you need is like 2.5 weapons. You need 2 full weapons and then 1 weapon to either jump in at the second quarter or jump in the fourth quarter. But you need that 1 weapon that can like tip you over the scale. And usually that scale gets tipped over at the close of halves or the close of a game. So second and the fourth quarter. So in my mind with LSU, right? They got enough people and enough weapons all throughout, starters and bench, where they can have 2 full gunners and then a part-time gunner. The problem is, they just sometimes they just don't hit shots, and sometimes like Flau'jae, sometimes she don't take enough shots. She's not aggressive enough. Sometimes Full Wiley is too aggressive. Girl, slow down, spin the ball around. Okay, swing that thing, right? So, we can never get mental toughness against South Carolina. So in these other games, it doesn't matter. True. South Carolina, Vandy, Texas, Ole Miss are the only SC teams with no loss at home. It's hard to, stand tall and defend home court when everybody is trying to take your head off. This is the SEC. This is a gauntlet. This is like WrestleMania. You feel me? Every time you turn around, somebody flying off a ladder, they cave diving, you know what I'm saying, on the mat. Like it's crazy out here in the SEC. It's the wild, wild South. You feel me? So, speaking of, Ole Miss took a brutal loss to another SEC team in Kentucky, 74-57, man. And that's a game that I actually didn't watch. It was so many games on. I was flipping back and forth. And actually at this time, the Duke and North Carolina game was wrapping up right around the same time. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to miss that one. But went back, you watch the game highlights and you're like, oh shoot, this it got dark. It definitely got dark for Ole Miss. They started out down by, it was a slow start out for Ole Miss in general. Started out 11 points in the first quarter to Kentucky 17. Boom. Then it didn't get better from there. It got worse from there. They only scored 9 points that second quarter. Okay, that's not going to ever win you no ball games, and nobody. I mean, unless this is little league basketball, elementary basketball. You feel me? Everybody got the mesh jerseys on, the no name, just numbers and colors. Unless 9 points ain't going to win you anything. You feel me? Then they try to get back on the good foot in the second half, right? Picking up the pace, 22 points in the third quarter, 15 points in the fourth quarter. But by that point, the deficit is too much. It's too great. You feel me? So Cody definitely did what she was, tried to do. She just got to get off the block earlier. But Kentucky, when they hitting Strack, she got 28 points and 9 rebounds. Morgan got 9 assists. They just getting contribution from all over the place. I mean, Ole Miss, Either you're going to be able to score with them or you're going to be able to slow them down. You can't not slow them down and not be able to keep up and scoring. It's a recipe for a blowout. And that's what we got here. So shout out to Kentucky, because we know Kentucky was slipping and slipping and slipping and dipping, right? So they trying to get back on the good foot as well. So yeah, for the most part, Ole Miss struggles on the road. Yeah, I mean, their advantage is playing at home. And here's the thing: we're gonna talk about the top 16 here shortly as well, and then break down the top 25 AP poll. Like, here's the thing: home court advantage matters in the first two rounds. I mean, it matters all through March Madness, but in the first two rounds, because who you might be matched up with may not be somebody. It may or may not be somebody that you well scouted. It might not be a team that you are used to seeing or you have played before because of similar rankings and similar divisions or the same division. You might be playing somebody completely different in a completely different conference, right? Somebody you would have never crossed over usually, right? And now here they are. So what you gonna do about it? So you gotta pick a struggle, pick a struggle, pick a struggle. So shout out to Kentucky, stepping up. Now another great game was Big Ten showdown, Maryland versus Ohio State. Maryland versus Ohio State. This game was in Columbus, so Ohio State was rocking. Jaylani Cambridge, she was rocking. They really fought. That was a great game, well contested game on both ends. And you know what? It just didn't happen for them. And it's crazy because Ohio State got off to a great start. 28 points in the first quarter to Maryland's 15. So they already created a 13-point lead off the first quarter. Boom, out the gate, right? Maryland started to get back in it, but it was still slow. They still take a significant lead going into the half. Meanwhile, tale of two cities, tale of two halves. Maryland do the same BTA that Ohio State did the first half. Maryland said, hold on, I know how to do that. Like Teddy said, Ohio State was up 19 and lost. Get the heck on. That's crazy. Teddy also said, as long as we don't play South Carolina, UCLA, then I think we could beat everybody else, including UConn, because we match up well against them. And that's LSU he's talking about. So you got LSU over UConn, but you don't have LSU over South Carolina or UCLA? Clarify that for me. Ohio State sold this game away, man. Ooh, that's a statement right there. What up, Miss D? What up, Miss D? Welcome back. Y'all know what time it is. Her core, her rules. Get into the chat. Pull up. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe, man. And let's talk women's basketball. Still can't get over how weak LSU was in that game. Man, okay, so a little bit about this LSU game. LSU and South Carolina, right? Hell of a game. Obviously, hell of a game. Stressed out. Tessa Johnson. Can we put Tessa Johnson in the chat? Can somebody put Tessa in the chat for me one time? Tessa Johnson changed this game. Early though. Early. Remember, we always talk about South Carolina. We talk about their threats, and I say all the time, I feel like Tessa doesn't get enough credit. We know that the bigs for South Carolina usually dominate the press. They normally dominate the eyes and they dominate the conversation just in media, and that's kind of how it's been for South Carolina for the last few years. I mean, since Asia, everything has been about the bigs, right? The guards, excuse me, even for as good as D. Henny was and things like that, it didn't translate in the WNBA, and obviously she didn't last long in the WNBA. And I was a person that thought that the hell, some of the that I see, she should definitely be playing. But I guess I'm not a GM. That being said, it's usually not the guards that get the spotlight and be in the conversations when we talk about South Carolina and their dominance. So Tessa, this game, showed us and reminded us that that trigger is quick. Tessa is another Aaliyah, not just a shooter. She's not going to do that against UConn. Didn't score against them last year. Listen, Tessa is so thorough with her scoring, that how she can get her buckets. I love the fact that she doesn't just rely off of running off screens. I'm gonna pause right there, because one thing that I didn't see in Dawn's second half is when they made the adjustment, LSU, to then face guard Tessa Johnson. I didn't see multiple screen actions for her. Run her off multiple. Now you got to treat her like Steph Curry. You got to treat her like Rip Hamilton. You got to treat her like one of the greatest route runners in basketball, right? Where they just constantly are running. Sonya Citron. You can't guard her on the ball or off the ball because of her ability to read screens and run off screens, right? Tessa has that level of that IQ that she can pick her poison around screens. I just did not see them setting multiple screens in that second half, especially when you're face guarding her. When somebody's face guarding you, they can't even see the screen coming. They rely on listening to their teammate call out the screen. Hey, left screen, left screen, left. Okay, but let's see. Let me tell you something. Can't hear nothing over there. You can't hear nothing in that game. They couldn't hear the whistle half the time, right? Moki over here doing this. She did this like 15 times before they called the timeout, right? So you're trying to call out a screen. It's going to be real difficult to do that, especially when somebody's face guarding you. Use that to your advantage. Everything, every piece of the game you can use to your advantage. Anything somebody is doing, even though they think they're doing it well and executing at a high level, you can still use it to your advantage. Why? Because there's a counter for everything. This game is endless, but you have to think that way. You can't be limited in your thinking when it comes to countering anything. And I just didn't see that in Dawn this second half. I usually never have critique for Dawn. And I'm like, oh, how you let them take your number one, hit it out the game like that? Especially when Joyce ain't really activated yet. I didn't know. I didn't like that, but that's okay. They won the game. Shout out to South Carolina, man. Hell of a game. Hell of a game. Raven proved to be the best point guard in the nation. At this point, absolutely. At this point, absolutely. And you know what's thing about Raven is her jumper ain't even like that. Her mid range cool, but that 3-pointer something is hit or miss. It's hit or miss. It is what it is, right? Boy, if she ever tighten up that three, if she get a sniper like Sabrina, right? A sniper, not even making sure that she is shooting, 2 feet behind. It don't need to be the distance. It's got to be the reliability, the Caitlin Clark, the efficiency, right? When they're healthy, they're some of the craziest shooters in the W. But by her ability to defend at a high level, on the ball, full court, big, solid, can take the contact. Y'all don't get me started about Raven. Okay. I guess y'all talking. The chat is funny. The chat is lit today. Shout out to the chat. So we had that game. Then obviously we had the Maryland game in Ohio State. So it was a great slate of games and statement games that happened throughout this week. Let's then talk about the upset of the week. Y'all know we got to talk about this one. Georgia and Vanderbilt. Did y'all see that game? Crazy. First of all, let me tell you something about Georgia. When you bury them, you got to put the nail in the coffin. Because they coming. Let me tell you something. Defensively, low-key, this is one of the best defensive outings on Michaela Blake's that I've seen in a long time. Why? Because normally she get hers every game, right? Every game. And guess what? She got hers from the free throw line. She did not get hers from her sweet spot. They did not allow her to get no easy buckets, nothing easy. If she stepped foot in the paint, let her know what time we on. If she come downtown, give her a parking ticket. And that's what Georgia did. On top of that, their guards made big shots. They just stepped up all the way around. Danny Carnegie lit the gym up. 29 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. She shot 5 from 8 from the 3-point line. Man, come on, man. What are we doing? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Okay. They shot 50 from a team. As a team, they shot 56% from the field, 44% from 3. 44% from 3 as a team. Well, hell, one person made 5, so that's easy money right there, right? They left money on the table on the free throw line. They turned the ball over more than Vanderbilt, right? The thing about it is Vanderbilt just couldn't get their easy buckets. They had the opportunity to win the game at the end. Shorty missed it. Washington missed it. They my girl Blakes couldn't even get the ball back. She kept trying to get the ball, and every time she got it, they was on her. She had to pass it. Now listen, I'm glad she didn't force it, right? She had to give up the rock. They drew up a great play from the side out play, right? Boom. They got what they wanted. Short-armed it, missed it. You feel me? Vandy is an overachieving team. Y'all think Vanderbilt overrated? Y'all think, is that what y'all saying to me? That's what y'all saying to me? Vanderbilt is overrated? Vandy is Blake or bust. I absolutely agree with that. Sometimes Galvin can show up, sometimes, but it's not enough. They never have enough pressure coming from the paint. I'm about to say the WNBA. In the NCAA basketball, you got to have a goon guard and a goon big. You can't have one or the other. You got to have balance, right? You got to be able to get it in the paint. We can get something, right? Y'all trying to double Joyce. Y'all trying to double such and such. Y'all, oh no, we got 2 guards out here. No, we gonna make you play honest defense. And Michaela Blakes ain't got enough help. Do y'all think she just a sophomore? Do y'all think she gonna go in the trade portal? You feel me? South Carolina got what, 2 guards leaving? South Carolina gonna have 2 guards leaving. What if it's still the SEC? What if Michaela Blake's going to transfer portal and just saying, I'm gonna go ahead and head on, take my talents to South Carolina, right? I'm gonna replace Raven, right? I'm gonna replace Tessa, okay? I'm gonna replace Latson, right? What if? You know, we would love to have her with the Gamecocks. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Now I got a question to ask y'all. Because we had a great slate of basketball over this last week. So y'all hop in the chat right now. This is a great time to hop in the chat. Who was y'all MVP last week? Before we start talking about the AP top 25 or the top 16, who was y'all's MVP last week, man? I'm trying to do this weekly MVP, right? So we can highlight a player, and my MVP might not be yours, so that's why I want to hear from y'all as well. Who was y'all's MVP last week? Y'all talking about I don't want Blake's with the Gamecocks. It's Joy's team. It is Joy's team, but Joy's gonna need some help for sure. Okay, last week we got Maddie Booker. Hooked and Booker, shout out to you. Welcome to Her Court, Her Rules. Madison Booker was the MVP last week. Shout out to Maddie Booker. She did help her team get a crucial win last week for sure. Kim Melky, because she got out coached by Dawn. So maybe Dawn was your MVP last week. Mulkey always get out coached though. When Mulkey is standing across somebody who really know, she getting out coached. I mean, every single time. It's just what are we talking about at this point? Tessa Johnson for MVP. So we got Maddie, we got Tessa. Great names. Both had great performances in one, if not 2 games. You feel me? Um, outstanding. Tessa, she really just showed out yesterday too. So great, great, great. Yeah, that's a fact. Moki always getting out coach for real, and I'm sick of everybody talking about it that she not. You feel me? I'm sick of everybody talking about she not. Um, yeah, we not doing that. You know who don't be getting out coach though? Mr. Geno. Mr. Geno don't be getting out coach. Shout out to Geno. He tied Tara Vanderveer. Remember just last week we was talking about coaching. We was talking about who the great coaches are. We threw out Pat Summitt, right? We threw out Geno. We threw out Dawn. I threw out Tara, right? So we had a great conversation, great positive energy and intellectual conversation about who the great coaches are, why you feel like these coaches are great, and what they mean to women's basketball overall. Obviously, Geno is a staple. He's a statue. He's a monument. He is an icon. He is a living legend in women's basketball. And he tied also a living legend in Tara Vanderveer for most appearances in the AP Top 25 Women's Basketball poll. Obviously, UConn is number one today. Still number one. Okay. What is tying Tara mean? What does that mean? That means he has led the Huskies to 654 appearances in the polls. 654, 654, and he's gonna beat Tara Vanderveer for most appearances in AP poll. Shout out to him. He's been coaching 41 years. He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. And yeah, so now when you got Tara Vanderveer, right? She retired from coaching Stanford in 2024. Obviously, she's gonna be number 1A, and then Geno 1B, right? Maybe, and then maybe 2 Pat Summitt, and then now we got to start rolling in the Dawn Staleys of the world. You feel me? So shout out to women's basketball. Shout out to phenomenal coaches. Geno will never be out coached. He's in a league of his own and can make necessary adjustments inside the game. Geno will hold all the records when it's said and done. I absolutely agree with that. Welcome back, Keontae. Welcome back. I absolutely agree with that. Well written comment. I definitely agree with that. What a phenomenal feat, man. Shout out to Geno. I also want to say that UConn is winning the national championship. And so it doesn't matter where everyone else is ranked because they don't have an answer for the number one team in the country. Now, here's the thing about it. I don't completely disagree with you, right? I'm a fan of South Carolina Gamecocks, so I'm never going to be like, oh, yeah, they're getting smoked. But again, when it comes to UConn, it's just that question mark. Like, I feel like they just so, again, I say this. UConn has an answer for whatever you do at a high level. They can counter that. On top of they have Geno. And when you have Geno, sometimes, a lot of times, most times, things go your way. Again, this is the 5th time they are on a 41 game winning streak. The 5th time. UConn. Hold on. For five times in a row. Not in a row, but 5 times y'all won 40 plus games in a row. Stop it. Now here's the tea. The elephant in the room is UConn's schedule always light. Shout out to Teddy. UConn hasn't played anybody since the end of December, right? And they played Tennessee, twice. Right? They had a tough nail biter against DePaul. I'm joking because they didn't. Blew them out by like 30, right? They had a down to the wire barn burner against Butler. They didn't. Blew them out, right? They had some tough fights early on in the season. Again, like you said, December, Iowa, right? Michigan. But for real, they ain't really been playing nobody. AZ Fudd is the best player in the country. Shout out to you. I like that comment. I wouldn't agree with it, but I do like it. Tessa is a junior. Okay, thanks for the correction. Thank you for the correction. Tessa is a junior. So next year, South Carolina gonna spin the block with Tessa and Joyce Edwards. Go ahead, Blakes, and just hit that transfer portal. Go right to South Carolina. Just hit them up. Columbia's nice. It's all right. It's cool. It's cool over there. Man, Michigan should have beat them, and they haven't played anybody since the end of December. I mean, Michigan definitely was in that game. Definitely could have beat UConn that game for sure. For sure. South Carolina Gamecocks will beat UConn, and I can't wait to see it. They played Tennessee once. Tennessee got the dub on UConn last year. I thought they was gonna sneak up on them this year, but they didn't. So, here we are. So my MVP, right? I asked y'all who's y'all MVP was, and my MVP was none other than Olivia Miles. Shout out to Olivia Miles, a senior coming out of TCU this year. She will be in a draft. Where y'all think Olivia Miles gonna get drafted at? Top 10, or we looking at 11 through 15? Y'all let me know. But I definitely think she's a top 10 caliber player in the way she's been playing. When they spanked Baylor again, big game, because Baylor has been fighting and climbing, right? Baylor sometimes get a little stifled in their offense, but they're an aggressive physical team and well-balanced team as well. That being said, didn't matter to our friend over there, Olivia Miles. Dropped 40.6 rebounds, 3 assists, and gave him 2 steals and a block. Talking about all over the court. Plus, she shot 50% from the 3-point line. 10 for 20. Oh, Lord. Cooking with Crisco. Okay? Shout out to Olivia Miles. See, I almost got caught up in my words because I saw this comment. Let me hold on. Lay should go to TCU. First of all, she'd get paid a lot of money if she went to TCU. That's for a Snapple fact. Number 2, she could probably take that TCU team back to the Elite 8 single-handedly on her own, representing the Big 12. Not a whole lot of it's competition in the Big 12, but not a whole lot, right? You got Texas Tech, whatever. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not tripping. Next year, I think the Big 12 might be a little bit something else. But yes. I think Malaysia need to stay exactly where she at. You got what you want, baby. Sit down and keep it cute. Olivia Miles is balling. Absolutely. She's been dominant. She's had a couple like lighter games where it's been heavy on assists, but not so much in scoring. But when she doing one thing about her is her game so unorthodox, her shot so unorthodox. You never know when it's about to come up. You think she about to dribble and she just take her little shot. She don't jump super high off the ground. So technically you be like, oh damn, that's a shot I can easily block. But you never know when it's coming because she doesn't have a typical shooter's form where she pull up and follow through like that. She kind of get her shot off quick enough, but it's on a different beat where you're not really ready for it. So hard cover, hard guard. Plus she's big, right? Plus you got to be worried about the pass. So what you gonna neutralize? Sometimes you can't neutralize nothing, and she run off with 40.6 rebounds and 3 assists. My MVP of the week. Shout out to Olivia Miles. Look at Haley Van Lith, Olivia. They have a guard system. They do. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And they obviously like LSU guard. So go ahead. You feel me? But again, I guess Haley left Louisville to go to Louisiana and then go to TCU. I just feel like if you mad at Dawn and then it doesn't work with Kim, then you the problem. You feel me? I feel like you the problem. Also, I feel like what you thought was gonna happen with Kim anyway, which she don't develop nobody. Ain't nobody got better from being with Kim. Either they are what they are or they not. She ain't like, oh, what are we doing? They be gassing Kim Mulkey up. No, Kim Mulkey just been lucky with some phenomenal talent. Now I think she's a good coach when it comes to motivating and empowering and allowing her players to dream of bigger, right? Because she is decorated, right? And she did play at a high level her own self. But when it comes to the scheming of it all, when it comes to the mind of it all, she not one of those, in my humble opinion. Back in the days, Big East was the conference to be in and was very competitive. The Big East today ain't the Big East of the past. It's disappointing. If it's disappointing to not acknowledge that fact. It absolutely is. I remember growing up when we used to watch Xavier and Butler, and those used to be the teams. Like I remember having Butler gear. Like I had shorts. That used to we had a lot of different teams in the Big East that were prominent, and even prior to the introduction of the NIL, the Big East has just taken a significant decline, right? And so one would think that it's hard to improve now that you have money and stuff, and marketing deals and maybe potential endorsements on the line. It's like now it ain't about legacy; it's about money. Unfortunately. No, Kim don't. She ride the wave of her stars. She had BG and Angel, exactly. And then she always has a complimentary guard that knows what to do, right? So Kim Mulkey should be fired with her having the talent they have. If Geno had this LSU team, they wouldn't lose to anybody. We be saying that, right? We said that. If Geno or Dawn had the same LSU team, the amount of talent, first of all, why you don't use Michaela as much? It's too much, respectfully, and I love Flau'jae, but it's too much emphasis on Flau'jae and it's too much emphasis on Malaysia, right? Michaela is the most consistent weapon y'all got. She should be averaging 24 points. What are we doing? You're not utilizing her as a clear weapon, right? She big, she's solid. She's a solid guard that can really score from anywhere. She can shoot the lights out from 3. She can get to the mid. She can get to the bucket. What are we talking about? What are we doing with Michaela? What are we doing? Why is she just over there just rotting away over there in LSU? For the hype. For the hype. Don't chase a hype, baby. You should be chasing the championship. You was never going to win one in LSU. Not this year. LSU, they're done winning them. They're done winning them. They had their moment with Angel and Flaw, and it was undeniable. But that's over with. She didn't trust her freshman Bella Hines and Samia Wasala. Exactly. She don't be trusting people. Right? My bad. You skipping over my comments is cool though. My bad. I'm trying to get to everybody. I try to get to them as the flowing in the conversation. Do you feel me? Let me see what I got. Let me see what else I got. Okay, bet. Kim has gotten Hollywood. Kim always has been Hollywood. Once that hype train rolled in with talking about her jackets and her style, I said, here she go. You ain't gonna be able to get it back now. She for the streets now. It is what it is. She don't care about it no more. She don't love it like that. She here for the show. In my humble opinion. South Carolina is done winning. They won't win another championship while the number 1 team is in the way. Done winning. Don't you see they got Jersey coming in next year? Jersey right there tipped the scale. Let me tell you something. UConn better do something real crazy for next year. Because right now, South Carolina got it in the bag. Between South Carolina and USC, they got it in the bag. UCLA gonna fall completely off the map without Lauren Betts. It is what it is. And they're gonna be losing Kiki Rice. So I'm not worried about USC. Baby sis Betts, not yet for her. Maybe junior year, holla at me. But not right now. Not right now. Not to have revisionist history, the Gamecocks should have won the championship. I mean, talk about it. The number 1 team will remain Connecticut. I'm not arguing with that, but the number 1 team can lose in the finals. In the final game. I mean, it definitely can happen. I've seen wilder things. So let's talk about the top 16 teams. Let's talk about the top. Or do you want to go to the top 25? Let's talk about top 25. Let's talk about the top 25. Let's go. Top 25 talk. Let's break this down. Obviously, since we talking about the number one, we could talk about the number one top 25, or we could talk about the number one top 16. Either way, it's still shake up to being UConn. The same name, same name, same name. I'm not mad at it. Showing complete dominance. They're 27-0. They're not looking shaken or stirred by anybody. Now, granted, strength of schedule, not that mighty, right? Not that mighty. However, you still gotta play your game and not play down to competition. And we see a lot of good teams playing down to competition. We see that a lot with who? Texas. We see that with sometimes with LSU, right? Never with UConn. Plus, we just talked about, one of the greatest coaches of all time, Geno. He's not having it. Look at that face. Look at that. He's not having that. You better tighten up, okay? Or you gonna get buttoned up and you gonna be sitting at the end of the bench looking stupid. Shout out to UConn number one. UCLA rounding out that number two. You know what I mean? The top four ain't changed. Let's just run through it. UConn, UCLA, South Carolina, Texas. Boom, back, boom, back. Right? Here we go. Vanderbilt, 5. Boom. Now it's starting to get tricky because Michigan is back in that top 5, almost top 5 conversation, right? I think they are. They just had a good win. They get one more solid win this week, and depending on how Vanderbilt looking, they're going to be a top 5 team next week, but we'll talk about it later. Right now, Michigan is number 6. LSU, they dropped. Y'all know they dropped because they dropped that win. They turned that dub into an L. They shoes right there on them, right there in their hands. But I was sitting over there cheering on my South Carolina guy. I said, come on, y'all, come on. And they did that. Hold on, let me get to some of these comments. Hold on. How does Vanderbilt lose to an unranked team and not move? How, Sway? I mean, really, that's the conversation. And this ain't the first time that happened, too. This is not the first time that has happened as well. Here's the thing. LSU lost. If LSU had won and Vanderbilt took that loss that they did, then Vandy would have dropped. But when you have both SEC teams winning, losing, they kind of offset each other. It kind of stabilizes and Michigan won, right? So if anything, we could argue that Michigan should jump over Vanderbilt, but Michigan beat Michigan State. Vanderbilt lost. Hold on. Welcome back to Her Core, Her Rules. Shout out to JTTVP Podcast. Do what she said. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe, man. We on the road to 500 subs. So all engagement on this channel is much appreciated, man. Get into the comments, man. We having a great conversation right now. I'm trying to get back to the comments so I don't see where I'm lost. Yes, UConn is absolutely the standard. They're number one. They're absolutely the standard. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Yes, they are reigning champs. They are dominant. They are 27-0, right? Everybody is trying to figure out how can we beat them. Only thing beating UConn next year is Juju. I said USC. KK and Z Bell returning alongside a front line of Sarah Strong, Blanca, Olivia. Good luck. I mean, UConn's still gonna be strong next year. It just is Sarah Strong. They're still gonna be strong next year. Juju with your girl. What's the girl? What's the guard over there for South Carolina? Who? I mean, USC. Who was her name? It start with a D. I'm sick. Her name is escaping me. Let me pull her up because I'm losing it. Southern California roster. Thank you. Jazzy Davidson. Juju with Jazzy gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a big problem. That's gonna be a big problem. I don't know, and that's in the Big Ten, y'all. They're going to be the new face of the Big Ten. Ohio State might still have some hitters over there. Maryland, put a pin in that. Not sure about that. Michigan State still. But I mean, it's always going to be SEC and Big Ten for the hardest conferences. That just is what it is. You know, UConn will use a transfer portal too. KK, Shea, Heckle, Fisher, Chelly. There's a lot of guards for UConn next year. That is true. Michigan Wolverines do not have a top 5 win. No, but we're gonna see that we're gonna have to wait to see that in the March Madness, because right now it's in conference, right? And so unless somebody for the Big Ten get into the top 10, I mean to the top 5, it's gonna be more than likely it's gonna be Michigan. I mean, you got UCLA, but I don't think they play UCLA again for the rest of the season. I don't think so. We would probably have to confirm that. We would have to confirm that. So, that's where we at. So we got LSU. They are ranked number 7, and we got Louisville. Louisville came up one more notch, right? They had a pretty good week. Duke had a great week. Duke finally cracked that top 10. Duke climbed up from the grave. They started off this season slow. They hit my Virginia Tech Hokies up, blew through them, and since then they won 15 straight. And now are ranked number 9, right? That's a very dangerous team right there at Duke. ACC is sneaky. ACC, if everybody showed up correctly this year, they would have had North Carolina being beast, North Carolina State, and Notre Dame, on top of having Duke and Louisville. Now, I don't feel like the polls showing love to my Virginia Tech Hokies either. They sitting at 20-7. So we're to respect that, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? We still fight. We'll see y'all in that top 16 in March Madness. Don't worry about that. Okay. We're gonna see the top 16 in March Madness. Don't even worry about that. Then you got, you know what I'm saying, top 10, Ohio State. They dropped 2 seeds, obviously with a big loss against Maryland. But that's okay. They're still top 10. So this top 10 look good. You got Big East, number 1. You got a Big 10 team. You got SEC, Big 10, SEC, ACC, and Big 10. So even though you got a lot of SEC family in the mix, I think the top 10 is becoming more and more diverse. It used to be 7 Big 10 people. I mean, 7 SEC people in the top 10. They had Kentucky up in there. You feel me? They had a lot of people up in there. They had Oklahoma up in there. Not no more. Not no more. Let me see. You said Juju, Jazzy Davidson, Kennedy Smith, Sanaya Halls, Satya Fagan. I gotta see what bigs they have coming off the bench though, and you know they're gonna be in that transfer portal too. You already know that, because there's some people who say, "Okay, Juju ready, I'm going." I was just playing with y'all, but I was just buying my time for Juju. Juju is gonna be the talk of the town. Gonna be talking to town. Gonna be talking to town. So that's our top 10. Let's get to our top 11. Oklahoma has been trying to play well, trying to get back on the good foot. They'll win some, lose some, win some, lose some. But they are ranked number 11, followed by TCU that made a huge jump 5 slots, right, on the backs of Olivia Miles, who's been playing well, who was my most valuable player of the week. She had the 40.6 rebounds and 3 assists, right? So they're ranked number 12, following Iowa. Iowa has consistently been in that top 15. Iowa's a sneaky team. I think that in March Madness, sometimes they might struggle with scoring late in the game. However, still a dangerous team. And anytime they play at home, good luck. You better hope Caitlin don't show up. And if it's March Madness, Caitlin will show up. And if Caitlin show up, good luck. Back to the beginning. Good luck. You feel me? Let me see what the comments saying. Oh, hold on. I got a Virginia Tech comment. Hold on. I'm hoping Karis Baker want to be a Terp next year. She a sniper for real. Absolutely, she is. Megan Duffy is the coach for Virginia Tech Hokies, and I swear for a slice of cheese, she ain't using Karis Baker worth a damn. Not a Ooh, she burns me up. She scuffs my Tim so bad. That's okay. I wish Karis Baker well. I hope she, I would love to her for her to stay a Hokie, but she deserves more she deserves more focus, right? She deserves more offensive attention, and she deserves to be on a better team. It is what it is. UConn men's football went to the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. So if we get in another bowl game next year or the year after, we might be let into a power conference. Football is the Achilles heel. Thank you for that information. Because a lot of times we have this back and forth conversation about UConn and their strength of schedule and how the Big East is trash and how they've tried to change conferences, but football has not allowed them to do so because their football team is trash. Now, every time we talk about this topic, there's somebody who gives us more information and more perspective on this UConn and strength of schedule in terrible conference saga, right? So shout out to Keontae because that was a great comment and great offering. So I appreciate that. And so that being said, I mean, maybe in 2028, 2029, UConn is really facing some real ops throughout the entire year. And then you know what? We won't have to keep talking about this. Okay? Because I'm tired. That being said, Maryland jumped 6 slots. Right? They had the big game against Ohio State. Great game. Went down to the wire, won by 2. Baylor dropped 3 slots. They are ranked 15 now. Baylor lost a critical game, right? To what? TCU when they spanked them, right? Mainly Olivia Miles spanked them. Kentucky is moving back up. Again, Kentucky used to be ranked number 7 in a minute, way back in the back, right? Probably about week 5, week 6. And they've been steadily falling and now they're climbing back up. So shout out to Kentucky because in this gauntlet of a SEC, you must be resilient, baby. You got to be. You have to be. So that being said, Ole Miss probably need to look at my playlist Rooted Resilient right here on Beyond the Lens TV, and so that way they can pick themselves up by their bootstraps. They can start to create, this basketball fantasy that they want to be captains of, okay, and that they want to spearhead right now or spearhead. Right now, they sometimes they look good and sometimes they look bad. There needs to be consistency. It just has to be. You feel me? We're gonna find out how strong Ole Miss is. Remember, I believed that they were a sleeper team, and most times I still do. But then there are moments where they just get blew out, and I'm like, damn, maybe I'm sleeping. Maybe I need to wake up and move on. I don't know. Shout out to Michigan State. You know what I mean? They one of their key players had a really tough injury. So shout out to Michigan State. They did suffer a tough loss against Michigan, right? Big Ten foe. Definitely battle with Michigan, battle with a state. Who's gonna be victorious? And it was Michigan. But Michigan State came to play at least in the first half. So you know what I mean? Sometimes, you lose. Top 19, we got West Virginia is 19. West Virginia is maintaining that 19 slot. They got to make a move quick because Texas Tech, even though they lost again, right? Texas Tech can easily one more win, and obviously Texas Tech is going to make that jump, especially if it's a ranked team. They should allow them to go independent. UConn, that's crazy. Go independent. Just branch out, start your own conference. We trying to do independent, but $5 million to break the Big East contract for leaving earlier. We need the power conference money to compensate. It's the last option to split from football. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would be tough. Chit Chat Wright deserves more national attention. She's the best player on that team. To me, followed closely by Ava Hayden. Bingo. You know what you're talking about. Shout out to you passing through the Sports Talk Media. Welcome to Her Court, Her Rules. Now we got our top 20 through 25. We got Texas Tech. Again, I ain't a big fan of Texas Tech, but shout out to them. Tennessee, Tennessee, they got a really bad, hard schedule to close this season, and so it's gonna be tough for them. North Carolina, tough loss in the ACC to Duke, rival foe Duke. North Carolina, that's always gonna be one of them, and Duke, for the last few years has been taking that dub. So North Carolina, hopefully they got to do better, but it's hard. It's hard for real in the ACC because the teams that you want to go to, it ain't been North Carolina lately. It's been the other teams, right? It's been Louisville, it's been Notre Dame, right? So, and it's been Duke. So, but maybe next year. I don't know. Shout out to Minnesota. They moved up 3, right? They weren't even ranked. So welcome to the top 25 conversation. Shout out to you. Shout out to Georgia. Welcome to the top 25. They've been busting their A to try to get there. They got there for I think 1 week and then fell out again. So they rose 5 slots, and then Alabama dropped 2, but they still are in that top 25. So shout out to them. A couple teams that did get some extra votes. We got Rhode Island, Washington, Princeton, who dropped out of the top 25. We got Richmond, Fairfield. See what I'm saying? We talking about Richmond getting shout out, Fairfield getting shout out, but not Virginia Tech, Hokies. Illinois, Iowa State, man, not too long ago was a 11 ranked team. Then they was 15, then they was 18, then they was out. North Dakota State, Syracuse, and Columbia, right? Shout out to the Ivy Leagues on here trying to get into the conversation. In the NIL world, to have 5 million gone just like that at UConn, we want to remain competitive and be able to pay strong in the game. You're gonna have to. And that's the thing. Now we talking about money now. Now we're talking about money, right? We used to just be talking about basketball and legacy and championships and this, that, and the third, but now we talking about that Skrilla. So when you talk about the Skrilla, it get realer. You feel me? Okay. Can you tell Mulkey to find bigs this year and play our freshmen over upperclassmen? Thanks. Mulkey don't listen to me. I be shouting out every game. She don't be trying to hear me. She thinks she know what she doing. She don't though. She thinks she know what she doing. She does not. A lot of times. She'll run her vets into the ground. She gonna run them names into the ground. She plays into the pop. She plays into the popularity, into the trend, into what's cracking right now, right? And instead of just playing into talent, who cooking right now? One thing I like about Texas is Rory. Rory ain't got it. She sit down. Sit next to me. They ain't got old buddy down there in Texas. He ain't got no fear of benching somebody. Oh, you act like you don't want to play. I'll bench all y'all. Play with me if you want to. You won't play. That'll be your last day. Goodness gracious. Shout out to you, Mr. Make It Happen 1234. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules, man. Shout out to y'all for pulling up to the chat, man. Man, let's talk about this top 16. I know y'all saw it. We got to talk about it, though. Her core, her rules way. Right? So we got the 4 number 1 seeds. We got UConn, undoubtedly the number 1 ranked team. You can't even question it. You can't even argue it. Here we go. UConn 1, UCLA 2. That you could question. I mean, not from wins, losses, but I don't know. Now, but still number 1, whatever. Now you got South Carolina, you got Vanderbilt. These are your 4 number 1 seeds. You got UConn representing that Fort Worth bracket. You got UCLA representing Sacramento bracket, Sacktown, South Carolina, Fort Worth, and Vanderbilt again, Sacktown. Okay. Now, these are the top 16 teams. Now, the conversation starts to change when you look at the 2 seeds. Right? They put LSU in the UConn bracket. Okay. They put Texas in the UCLA bracket. They put Louisville in the South Carolina bracket and Michigan in the Vanderbilt bracket. Now again, are these the teams are we gonna see play each other week 1? No. But if it plays out how it plays out and the top 16 teams beat the lower 16 teams, then these are the teams that we gonna see in all the top games. For real, for real. Now we can start putting our money where our mouth is. Now we can start putting our money where our mouth is. Hold on, let me get back to it. Kim is a good recruiter and she bring money to school. They have the money to pay the players, but her coach, meh, agreed. Jada and MK been mentally messed over since Rory and Booker and Austin. Ooh. Interesting. Mookie going all in on Caroline Bradley, 6'5" center for the class of 2027, I believe. She better hit the portal next year. She better do what she gotta do. She better play nice. And she love guards. She better start playing nice. Okay, and get some bigs, just like y'all said. Y'all know. LSU runs the pick and roll and I figure it out offense. That's not going to beat the top teams consistently. Kim has to step her clipboard game up. She does, and she has to run actual offensive sets. She relies too much on that individual's ability to be a star, right? To do incredible things on the court, where like Geno, like Dawn, right? Like Tara did with Tara Vanderveer, they can make the game easy for you. I know you're a star, but I can make the game easy for you. We knew Paige Beckers had a bag, but Paige only had to come off a couple screens, pump fake, read a little bit, see what she got. You know what I'm saying? Bring it back out, swing the ball, get the ball again, post up, mid post up, hit the. Paige didn't have to work that hard, right? Dawn make it easy. I was in Austin, LSU, Jada, and MK folded. Texas broke us. Hurt my heart. Oh, I know it did. I saw it in person. Oof. That would have hurt me to see it in person. Oof. So this is what we got. We got our top 16, right? Our 2 seeds, LSU, Texas, Louisville, Michigan. Okay. Very, very interesting, right? Vanderbilt edged out Texas to be that number 1 seed. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. A lot of people were a little bit perturbed with that. Okay. Both teams have Achilles heels, Texas and Vanderbilt. Both teams can get stagnant. Both teams rely on one player a lot. So if that one player is not performing at a high level, sometimes, they go ahead and hold that L. Thing about Texas is they got more weapons. Their weapons show up more, right? They just do. But Vanderbilt has been winning. They didn't just win yesterday, but they had been winning. Okay. So shout out to Vanderbilt. It definitely surprised me that they were that 1 seed in the top 16, but hey, that's what the committee said. They did say they deliberated heavy between Texas and Vanderbilt. That was the real grit of the conversation, right? UConn, there's nothing to talk about there. In UCLA and South Carolina, we already knew that they was going to be number 1 seeds. We already knew LSU was going to be a number 2 seed, right? We knew Louisville and Michigan were going to be number 2 seeds. They have performed consistently as, 1B teams or 2 teams or B team. They've been not the best, but right there all year round. So them being 2nd seeds makes sense. Ohio State, Duke, Iowa, and TCU. If you would have told me that Ohio State, Duke, them two, if you would have told me Ohio State and Duke were going to be 3 seeds teams in the top 16, definitely top 10 teams, I'd have been like, you cap. I would have never guessed that. Why? Because I would have thought Oklahoma would have been there, right? I would have thought Maryland would have been there. I would have thought Kentucky would have been there. I definitely didn't think Ohio State and Duke was going to be in that conversation. But shout out to the other conferences, because yes, you have your Big Ten teams, but your ACC teams out here stepping and creeping too. Okay, Iowa, Big Ten, stepping and creeping. Okay, TCU, shout out to Big 12. They outside too. Well, it's only 2 of them outside, but they trying. Okay. And then your 4 seed teams, you got Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Michigan State, and Maryland. Now, how y'all like the brackets and where they put these teams at? You know what I mean? What class you have them in? How do y'all like that? How y'all feeling about that though? Um, all coaches right now are trying to avoid the 4th, 8th, and 16th seed to dodge UConn. That is most teams' way to make it to the Elite Eight, Final Four, and chip. Avoid UConn. Exactly. Exactly. You don't want to play them. If you gotta play UConn on your way to the big dance, take them shoes off, baby. The dance is over with. Last call. Last call. It's over with. If Roy don't set the tone, Maddie don't get off the same with Vandy. Vandy one play don't play well, they in trouble. Exactly. So if Roy don't set the tone for Texas, then Madison she don't get off, and then similar to with Vandy, if they only got one Swiss Army knife, and that's Michaela Blake's, right? If Michaela can't get hers freely, that means Galvin can't get, you know what I'm saying, interjected with the game with her energy and her ability to score as well. So it's tough, and there's no real leadership. Galvin is a rookie, and you got Blake's as a sophomore. Like, where's the leadership that's saying this is how we get over the hurdle? This is how we. There's none. They being led by the youth, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? The youth movement is in live effect. However, come on, they gotta as a collective they gotta step it up a little bit more. Z Grace and Bella's the real deal. Agreed. See, that's two people. A couple people agree. The last 3 to 4 games, Jada Richard been going for glory, shot Jack and trying to take the team over rather than being the lead point guard. She has been up until this point. Agree. Sometimes I just be feeling like move the ball. Like for me, because I'm a point guard, right? I ain't retired yet, but I retired. See, for me in my house, right? Your whole job as a point guard is to make sure everybody is where they need to be. And you need to maximize the strength and mitigate the weaknesses of everybody on your team. Everybody, including your coach. There are moments as a point guard, your IQ has to supersede your coach because you are seeing something different. On top of that, there are moments in the game where you need to just take over and control the pace and the flow. No, you need to know what shot we need to get right now. No, we ain't just gonna play loose. We gonna say, okay, right now, based on what's happening in the game, we need to get such and such a ball at this point right here and do it and run the play, clear out whatever you need. But as the point guard, you need to be the genius. You have to be picking apart everything and defensively, right? When you a real point guard for real, you always whispering somebody, okay, come here, do his. Okay, here, I'm seeing this. That's what you doing all game long. Now, when it comes to getting your shot as the point guard, you get it in flow, you get it in rhythm. Sometimes you got to take the shot because you need to take the shot. A, because you're wide open, or B, because this is the best shot to take at this time. This is what the team needs. At the end of the day, the point guard is to deliver whatever the team needs at that time. You got to be the mind of the game on the court, and you partner with your coach to do so. If she's trying to outplay her team, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Not going to work. Not in the NCAA, not with the level of competition that all these teams have, not in the gauntlet called the SEC. Not gonna happen. Team ball is gonna win every single time. Again, do what UConn does. Team basketball. They have many people that can take over a game at any game. And when Sarah get hot or when Fud get hot, Geno ain't no fool. He gonna ride that hot hand. But in the beginning of the game and throughout the game I'm gonna make sure I'm trying to beat you everywhere. You ain't gonna corner me in. Ho, ho, ho. You ain't gonna corner me. I'm trying to beat you everywhere. Right? You can't say, oh, take away this. Take away that. I'm coming with this. Take away this. I'm coming with that. It is what it is. Okay? So the top 16 reveal looking crazy right now. Shout out to them. Let's talk about a little bit behind the reveal. The Commodores moved to the one line after a recent head-to-head victory over Texas, which dropped the Longhorns to a 2 seed, right? So if Texas handled their business, they wouldn't be in the conversation of twos, right? They wouldn't be looking up, okay? They would be looking down like Vanderbilt is. So shout out to Vanderbilt, right? When it's time to, and usually they hold that dub, right? They had a tough loss just yesterday, but they did what they needed to do against Texas. The SEC conference strength, the SEC and the Big Ten dominate the early rankings, each accounting for 6 of the top 16 seeds. The two toughest divisions or conferences right now undoubtedly is SEC and the Big Ten. And that's why obviously they dominate the top 16 teams. I mean, can we even argue with that? We can't. Not if we got sense, we can't. ACC ain't got enough. They could have had enough if everybody showed up to play this year, but they didn't. Hosting privileges. If these rankings hold, if the March Madness started today, all 16 teams would host first and second round games on their respective campuses. You know what that means to home teams like Iowa and Maryland, right? Ole Miss, teams that play really darn good at home, right? Ohio State, okay? All these 16 teams, they did very well by, again, if it starts today, because the final top 16 reveal selection before March Madness starts is March 1st. So this can change, and more than likely this will change. Why? Because the top 25 poll changes every week. This is going to change again too. But more than likely what won't change is UConn, UCLA, and South Carolina. That's been a consistent underline all season long. Those 3 teams understand the assignment, and they ain't falling short, right? They ain't coming up off of it. They want something, they going to get it. They going in there. Okay. Ole Miss can help themselves with a win against South Carolina. They sure can. They sure can. So tomorrow, Ole Miss also plays Tennessee tomorrow. So Ole Miss can do. Matter of fact, let me just look at Ole Miss's schedule real quick for the rest of the year. Hold on, y'all want to look at the schedule with me? Hold on. Let's pull up Ole Miss again, because we did this a couple times. But let's go ahead and pull them up again. Hold on. All right. Let's pull up Ole Miss schedule again one time. Hold on. All right, so Ole Miss schedule. They got Tennessee tomorrow, 7:00. I don't know why. Why would they put Ole Miss and Tennessee on ESPNU? ESPNU? That's okay. I'll take it though. I ain't mad. So we got they got Ole Miss and Tennessee tomorrow. Then they're gonna have LSU Thursday. Then they gonna have Sunday South Carolina. Don't sleep on Florida. And they close out the season with Texas A&M. Ole Miss. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for Ole Miss for the end of the season. It really is. Ole Miss on the road, yeah, and South Carolina again, yeah. Yeah. Home against Tennessee, home against LSU, on the road against South Carolina. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. It's definitely gonna be tough. Yeah. So yeah, also with the regional strategy, how the committee kind of made these brackets as far as who is going to be in what bracket. Let me get to this comment. Hold on. The committee made the comment about whoever wins between Kentucky and Ole Miss game will host. Ole Miss lost, and Coach Yo addressed it in her presser about losing the ability to host most likely. Yeah, because they said whoever lost or whoever won was going to make that top 16. So Ole Miss won. Ole Miss, I'm sorry, no. Kentucky won. Obviously, Kentucky blew Ole Miss out, and Kentucky is still not in that top 16. It's strange. When I heard the comment with the commentator, I was I was wondering how that was working. How was that so matter of fact? But I don't know. That confused me when I heard him say it. Ole Miss will have to beat South Carolina or doing something spectacular in the SEC tournament to be able to host. The committee got no faith in Ole Miss. They don't. They don't. They don't have enough weapons this year. They didn't have enough last year. And it's kind of like it's sad. It's unfortunate because Ole Miss is very good, but they just don't have enough. Shout out to you, Mr. Make It Happen. I like this channel. She come off fair, unbiased. Thank you. I appreciate that. Although I have my faves, I have my favorite teams. We all have our own favorite teams for whatever reasons, right? For whatever preference. And I try to be as unbiased as possible so everybody can feel comfortable and welcome in talking about their favorite team. I'm not here to shun nobody and their team and their love for their team. I just want us to all talk about basketball, women's basketball at a high level collectively. You feel me? A lot of times we watch a lot of shows and you feel like you're being talked at, and I don't want this to be that. I want us to have a conversation together. So I appreciate you. Cody McMahon is Batman, but she don't have a Robin. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I ain't even gonna say it. Lattimore and our number 3 options. Yeah, she doesn't. But the thing about it is, what's crazy is Cody. She had a Robin at Ohio State if she would have stayed, but they didn't want her playing a guard, a combo or big guard type of role. But she definitely could you imagine Cody and Jelani Cambridge this season? Stop it. It would have been nuts. But, she had bigger and better ideas for her career and for her future. So I completely understand that. And you're right, she does. Ole Miss, again, when you in the SEC, yes, they have an attractive coach. Coach Yo is an attractive mind and person. She seems very like lovable. She seems like a coach that if you got injured, she making sure she bringing you a gift basket, right? She making sure you get your favorite meal every couple nights. Like she just gives me a coach that will give endlessly to her players. So that would attract me to want to play for Coach Yo. However, when you're in the SEC and there are more popular teams in the same conference and you can get more, make more, get more eyes, almost have an automatic bid, depending on your position, an automatic bid or track or path to the WNBA, it kind of make it be like, damn, I would love Coach Yo and Ole Miss, but I'm gonna have to, you know what I mean? Like you got Coach Yo and you got Mulkey, and as much as I think that Coach Yo will outcoach the shit out of Mulkey, Mulkey got championships, 2 different schools, so it's a little bit different. Yeah, we have won games that are point guard has played bad. For example, we won on the 11th of January, and our point guard didn't play particularly well in that game. Who you talking about? Chicago Cheetahs. Shout out to you. Welcome back. Who you talking about? South Carolina? I agree. You are objective and unbiased and look at facts and promote the growth of the sport. That's why I tune in. Shout out to you. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all feel me. Y'all feel me. Y'all feel me. We see each other. We see each other. I think the Rebels are playing a lot of ISO. Oops, hold on. I think the Rebels are playing a lot of ISO and got rid of defense for offense. That's an interesting take. That's an interesting take. Defensively, so you think they are compromising a little bit on defense, sacrificing their little defense to get more energy and engagement and consistency offensively. Is that what you're saying? You know what? I can't completely disagree, because I do think that there are moments where they do play iso ball. Absolutely. And as much as I like what Cody's game, how her game is transitioning to being more on the ball, full court, more on the ball, stretching the defense more. There are moments though, like when they take out the ball, she be down there with the ball like she the point guard, and I be like, get your down the court. I would rather for you, Cody, to when you don't get the rebound or they make the shot, hustle down, because now you're putting more pressure on the defense because you're running down the court, your strength, your speed. You can run down and still get your big game off, right? You can still get an early post, quick, easy points if we're gonna play iso ball. So you can do it in moments, but don't do it in a half court, right? Do that in transition. You could transition off a dead ball too. Shout out to y'all. Hold on, let me get to the comments. Cody is a wing, shooting guard, small forward in the W. I don't get the undersized forward talk surrounding her anymore. Yeah. I mean, she's definitely like a Alicia Clark type of player in a W. Right? She's definitely Alicia Clark. She's going to be 5'9", 5'10". She's going to be a B. She's going to be able to post. Alicia Clark got rings with how many teams? 2 of them. Right? So, with the Mystics and with the Aces, right? She might got 3. She might have got one with Seattle too. Hold on. Fact check me on that. Ole Miss problem every year is their lackadaisical offense. They can't score and keep up with offensive scoring teams. Defense win chips, but you still have to be able to score the ball. Exactly. And when one team is going off and you can't either A, slow them down defensively, or B, pick up your offense and keep up with them, it's a recipe for a disaster. It happened the way it happened against Kentucky. You can't score with them. You can't slow them down. You're just going to get blown out. That's how that looks. As an LSU fan, I agree Mulkey has to do better coaching. Hurt me to finally realize it last year. Again, last year we realized that, right? Last year was it was glaring last year against South Carolina. I said, oh, God. Somebody need to sit Kim down. Take them shiny blazers off, right? Okay. Settle your hair down. It's too wild, too big. Okay. Settle it down, right? I like when you be matching with the grandbaby. That's cute and all that. But all that cute shit can stop when y'all losing. Okay. You gotta win. You gotta win. Shout out to A Drizzy. I be checking out your channel. A Drizzy, y'all make sure y'all follow him. He does great content surrounding Angel Reese and Chicago Sky. Especially when he do the shoe reviews. So shout out to you. WNBA season about to kick back up soon. Hopefully soon. We never know with the CBA. We never know. I think I heard the coach say something about not having enough energy. Yes, she did say that. She did say didn't have enough energy. She also said, you talking about Ole Miss, I think. Ole Miss last scoring performances: 71 versus Auburn, 63 versus Alabama, 80 versus Arkansas, 57 versus Kentucky. Ole Miss cannot score consistently. You're not beating no USC, UCLA, UConn, you not beating no U scoring that low. You're not. What we say in college basketball, if you can't easily get 75 points, it's going to be bad news bears for you, because we have teams, hell, the way LSU started their first 10 games, you have teams that can give you 100 points, 90 points. They can give you 85 points every game. You struggling to get 65? Plus, like, I like the finesse of the game too. If you can't score, it makes it real bad to watch. I ain't gonna hold you. I know I love basketball, but I'm like, y'all gotta put the ball in the basket. We missing layups. We missing. What are we doing? I don't like that. Make the game clean, right? Hit your shots. Hit your free throws. Let's talk about Flau'jae missing the critical free throws at the end of the game. What are we? Now I was happy because you know what I'm saying I love when South Carolina can send you home crying, right? Snatch their pride. But missing free throws, crazy. We need Kim to do better. I promise you, fam. Absolutely. LSU going to be tough. Ole Miss going to be tough against my squad. I love our LSU freshmen though. Yeah, LSU got some great freshmen. They just need to get on the court. They need to get some tick. They need to get some tick. MK was getting drove on. She lazy on defense. 3-year starter. That's now. Now you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay. So, do y'all have any qualms with the top 16, with the brackets, with the committee? How y'all feel about that? Y'all feel good about it? If March Madness started today, will y'all be cool with what we looking at? I think. Let me compare it to the top 5, top 25. Hold on. If it started today, I think the AP top 16 might be more authentic. Well, they do have Michigan in there instead of Kentucky. Because I was about to say, I think I would take the AP top 16 over the top 16 brackets. But no, I wouldn't put Baylor in there. I wouldn't put uh Kentucky in there either because they're just fighting back. That being said, I would keep Ole Miss in there. Um, so I'm not mad at that. I do think it's interesting though. Again with the top 25 with the teams that did get like the votes that didn't make the top 25. I think that is interesting that Rhode Island is going to be slated to be the team that gets in the top 25 over Washington, and Washington has been there for a significant amount of time in the top 25. They've been 24-25 for at least three weeks now, in and out, in and out. But I think that that's interesting that Washington maybe wouldn't get that. But again, Rhode Island is 23-2. If that being said, then why is my 20-7 Virginia Tech Hokies not being mentioned? I don't know. I don't like this. Y'all talking about Columbia 17-6. Columbia, who is that? Respect to them though. Respect to them. Did you see Don move man to man to zone like a military formation? It was crazy to see. Man, Don, look, again, we talk about adjustments over here all the time, right? The adjustments that I didn't see Dawn make offensively, I did see her make defensively. Okay. She made it hard for LSU to get anything. They couldn't depend on anything. Usually a team has said, okay, kill the three. Kill the three. Or, you know what, don't let them get in the paint because they like to feast at the line. Nah. Dawn said, I don't want them to have nothing. Nothing. Let me pull up the stats that game. I gotta go back to that game. Hold on. Flau'jae had a decent game though, but she dropped the ball. Hold on. Let me get into this comments. Hold on. UConn bracket is cool. LSU won't be in the UConn bracket. They will be in either South Carolina or UCLA bracket. LSU is ranked number 7 in net 5. Next bracket update, they will move out of the UConn bracket. Let's pull up this bracket back up and so make more sense to a comment for sure. So LSU won't be in that UConn bracket. You think LSU might go over to what bracket? UCLA? Oh no, they'll be in that South Carolina bracket. Well, if LSU their best chance is trying to get into that UCLA bracket, but I don't see LSU squeaking up to being a 5 seed. So that being said, they can only probably move up one slot, or go down, right? So you think they'll probably be in South Carolina or Michigan at best, in those slots. So I don't know. I don't. I think you. I don't think. I don't look. I don't think too highly of LSU in come March Madness. That's just me. That's just me. Um, Cheetah, you're right. We need that. She did. She put Ray Ray on MK. She did. As an LSU fan, Dawn is legit, man. She sure is. I also think that Texas should be the number one, number 4 seed. Okay. And that's what we were talking about. You know what I mean? We can definitely argue that, but when Texas lost to Vanderbilt, it made it tough. Now, again, I think that I don't think that Vanderbilt will be a number 1 seed by the end of the season. I do not think that. I do not think that. So that being said, I do think that Texas might be able to get to that number 1 seed for Sacramento. I think that can definitely happen. That's definitely doable for sure. She was the reason they stayed in the game, but she didn't close. I don't mind if the Tigers end up in the Bruins or the Huskies bracket. The matchup doesn't matter. We need to play defense or we're going to go home. That's simple. Simple. Got to play defense. The Tigers will have to win their 4 remaining games and probably make the SEC championship, which means they would have to win 3 games. You don't think that's possible? We've seen some wild things. They got so much talent over there. Maybe they could just figure it out. I don't want LSU in the South Carolina bracket. I don't know. I don't want that either. I definitely don't. I wouldn't be mad if everything stayed exactly the way it is. I would prefer it to be that way. But, we're going to see. We're going to see. Is Raven Johnson worthy of a lottery pick number 1 through 7? I think she is a first rounder, no doubt, but she's not a potential 1, 2, or 3 option on the championship winning team in a W. No, I don't think she's a top. I don't think Raven Johnson is a top 10 player. We're actually gonna do probably maybe last week we'll do a top 25 player or top 10 draft prediction again, because I did a top 10 draft a while ago actually, but now it's been a lot. So maybe we'll do one right at the end of the season, and then we're gonna spin a block again in April and and do it again, right? So my answer to that for Raven Johnson, I don't think she's a top 10 player at all. I think at best maybe she definitely a first round, but at best 12 maybe. Question: Why you don't want LSU in the South Carolina bracket? Keep it real, because I just don't want to see them before I need to see them. Like I don't want to see them play each other before I need to see them. It's SEC already, and they. I would rather see South Carolina play a Louisville, Iowa, or Michigan State. I'm over South Carolina and LSU. I'm over it. I'm over it. So and that's why I would prefer to see LSU in UCLA's bracket. I would like to see an LSU switch out with Ole Miss, right? But I mean, it wouldn't work just by ranking alone. But nah, I'm just over South Carolina and LSU. I think that the Tigers should be in any other bracket other than South Carolina. If they put the Tigers in South Carolina brackets, it's for television ratings at this point. Exactly. I would agree. I would like to see them literally anywhere else. Because we're tired. They might have to start Bella and Zakia over MJ and Jada. They better figure it out. Rashard can come off the bench. She good in spurts, but she can come off the bench. Texas will be a number 1 seed if they hold steady. Vandy lost to unranked Georgia before today will hurt them following the Texas blowout. You can't follow up a big win with Texas and lose to Georgia. Yeah, and I would agree. But and here's saying, and I hate to like agree with that too much because it's kind of like slighting Georgia a little bit because Georgia really is good. They really are a good team, right? But they just in the SEC, and the SEC got a whole lot of great teams. Georgia really can be statistically, as far as ranking, can be better than Kentucky, right? Can be better than Oklahoma, but these teams were already coming in the season ranked, so it's easier to stay ranked or be re-ranked if you drop out versus a team that was never ranked trying to make it to become ranked. So I think Georgia is a really, really good team, just like Alabama is a really good team, right? They have their weaknesses, but obviously so does Texas, so does LSU. Texas doesn't have as many weaknesses, but they have some, right? So I want to see South Carolina again. F that 19-0. I want all to get back. Hey, look, I ain't mad at that either. Now, come on now, Gamecock Nation, you heard? They are good. They are young. Georgia, yes, they are. Georgia really is a good team. They just weren't ranked. I know because they had beaten Kentucky and the Rebels the second meeting. Yeah, Georgia. We knew Georgia was gonna catch a lot of people slipping, this season. You know. See, I'm the type of guy you gonna beat me up 100 times. I want to get my big bag, make it one. I'm trying to tell you. Shout out to Cardi B. Knock down 10. Come on. Knock down, get up 10. Come on. We ain't playing. What? I want all the smoke. But also for TV, I'm just tired. Kim ain't got enough for Dawn and them. So they can just stay over there. It just is what it is. Georgia is a good team like West Virginia. They can beat almost any team on any night. And West Virginia is scrappy as hell, bro. West Virginia real scrappy. I ain't know they was cut like that, but I should have known. Like every time I watch them, I feel like, damn, why I ain't know they was like that? And every time I watch them, I'll be like, they really is like that. West Virginia got a lot going on for themselves. Michigan got a lot going for themselves. I think Ohio State got a lot going for themselves. Mr. Baker Habit said, I don't care. We want to see Dawn again. Okay, well, pull up. Pull up then. We here. We ain't ducking. What we doing? What we doing? We want all of it. You feel me? We want all of it. So shout out to y'all for pulling up again and rocking with me for another Her Core Her Rules episode. We do this every Monday at 6 p.m. EST right here on Beyond the Lens, Freelance TV, man. We've been rocking out with y'all. This is our 61st episode. Excited, man. Big things on the horizon for us. So I appreciate y'all. Appreciate all the activity in the chat. I appreciate everybody who pull up, hit that like, hit that subscribe. You feel me? Who got active in the live chat. And then if you watching on a replay, just go ahead and leave a comment on your way in or way out. You feel me? Get active on the comment side as well. It's all appreciated. Much love sending from me to you. You feel me? Y'all know over here, Beyond the Lens TV, Her Core Her Rules is always good vibes, always good energy. You feel me? We could talk about our faves. We could talk about our teams. We can have back and forth debate, but it's always love in the chat. You feel me? Because that's how I like it. You feel me? Respect with a K. Put some respect on it. Here we go. LSU, we want to get beat up again. Shout out to y'all. It's been real. Make sure y'all tune in next week, next Monday, for another episode of Her Core Her Rules. Every Monday, we on the way to 500 subs. So while you on your way in, if you're on your way out, hit that subscribe and turn that bell on. You feel me? Also on Wednesdays, we do Cavs State of Mind. Actually, in this Wednesday, we're gonna move the episode to Thursday. But so usually every Wednesday we do Cavs State of Mind. But if you go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, and turn that bell on when we go live, you get notified anyway. You feel me? Because I make sure I schedule it so you get the 30-minute window so you can prepare yourself. Oh, say Najah going live 30 minutes. Okay, let me go ahead and get ready. Okay. You feel me? So shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. It's been real. Y'all make sure y'all watch them games. There's gonna be some crazy games this week. We already said Ole Miss, Tennessee makeup game tomorrow. Plus, we got a whole slate of games on Thursday. You feel me? And I will be right back live and in the mix Thursday at 6 p.m. EST. giving y'all some great content on NBA Cavs State of Mind. You feel me? My Cavaliers, powered by Donovan the Don Spider Mitchell, and now partner up with James Harden. It's been real, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Have a great Monday. Peace and freedom. See y'all on the flip.